Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie if you are new, and I make videos all about plants and I release them on Mondays. So if you would like to subscribe to this channel, that would be amazing. I just hit 600 subscribers, so thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed. I can't believe this channel is actually growing and doing things and anybody cares about me, because I'm just, I don't know, I just never thought I could do this. So thank you so much for being here. And today we are going to be doing a part 2 of last week's video. So I can link that above if you didn't see it. But last week I talked about how I'm moving across the country from New York to Seattle. And I'm moving in a car, so I need to take all my plants with me. So what I've been doing is I've been getting rid of a bunch of plants. And so what I've done is in the last 2 videos, last week and this week, I've just compiled all the ones that I really actually want to take with me, and I'm gonna be trying to find a way to get them all from my car to Seattle from New York. So let's go ahead and go through the plants that I'm gonna be taking with me. Let's do that. So we'll just start with the plants that are kind of closest to me and I guess move outwards in that direction. So the first one that I have here is a Hoya macrophylla. And some of these plants, actually multiple of these plants, are looking a little floppy just because some of them just got watered, so you know, mine was late. But anyway, this is a Hoya macrophylla, and I could probably rebuy this in Seattle without too much difficulty. They're not necessarily like rare Hoyas, they're definitely coming down in price now, but the thing is, I spent $50 on this plant and it has taken me forever to grow this leaf right here, and it's lost leaves since I bought it. So like when it came to me, it immediately lost leaves, and then over time I've been able to grow this one singular leaf. So I'm really just not letting this go because I just feel like I've put so much like effort and time into growing this leaf. So it's coming with me. I really like it. It's really cute. Oh shit, it's dripping water on me. It's really cute though. Next we will talk about this beauty right here, which is probably one of my favorite plants that I have in my entire like collection. That is unquestionably coming with me, like there was no question about that. And this is a epipremnum something pinetatum variegata, something like that. It's a Cebu blue plant, but it's a variegated version of that. So I have another Cebu blue, spoiler alert, coming up, but this one right here is the variegated version of it, and it has that white beautiful elbow variegation on it. I am obsessed with this plant. Like, it's my favorite one that I have right now. I've already made money back on it. So it had like a bunch of nodes when I first had it, propped those nodes, grew little leaves on them, grew roots on it, and I sold them. So I'm already up in profit on this plant, and I've got a brand new leaf. I just chopped it recently to sell another cutting. So I love it. It's been so prolific. It's made me profit and I love it. Look how beautiful. Next we have one of the plants that is like most near and dear to me in my collection, and this right here is a syngodium milk confetti, or like a milk confetti syngodium. And the reason that it's so special to me is one of my subscribers / followers had been DMing me back and forth on Instagram and ended up sending this to me. She bought this with her own money and then like spent her own money to send it to me, and I'm just nowhere near that level, and just like the fact that somebody wanted to do that for me out of the kindness of her heart, like I cannot believe it. Her name is Caroline. I'm gonna like put her little Instagram on the screen. I've definitely mentioned her and this plant before in one of my past videos, but just in case you didn't see that past video, go ahead and follow her. She's so sweet and so nice, and she sent me this plant just out of the kindness of her heart. So it is beautiful and thriving. What I have done to take it with me on the trip is I've cut off like a bunch of, you can see there's like chops here. It had like huge leaves with beautiful pink like coloring and stuff, but I chopped those off because everything is gonna have to go in bins to be safely transported in the car. So I wanted to make it like as small as it could be, but this is what it looks like right now, and it's still growing. It's very prolific and it's so amazing. Thank you so much, Caroline. I love you so much. This is so amazing. So next I have a Monstera here. Now, I don't know, to be honest, if this is a Variegated variety or just like a regular variety that's small right now. I think I'm leaning towards this more Variegated because even the ones with fenestrations looks a little smaller, but regardless, this is a Monstera deliciosa. And the reason that I am taking this with me, because you can buy this anywhere. You can buy them at Lowe's, Home Depot, supermarkets, anywhere. They're pretty common now. But the reason that I want to take this one with me is because these cuttings here are rooted cuttings from a plant that I how do I explain this? So I was a student teacher, and one of the teachers that I was like learning from, he wasn't even my mentor teacher, he was just like a really nice guy. He had like this jungle in his classroom, and he said that I could take some cuttings from one of his plants, and this plant was like growing wild in his classroom, and I was able to get a few cuttings from it. And so I had more cuttings, like it was huge. It was a huge plant that grew from all his cuttings, and I chopped this and then propagated them. This is 2 cuttings in here. I sold the other plant because again, I have to like bring these across the country, so I wanted it to be like smaller, but I have a few cuttings in here, and I've already got 3 new leaves since I propagated it and put it in here. So it's definitely coming with me, even though it's a very common plant. It just holds like sentimental value to me. It means a lot to me to come from like a teacher that was really kind to me, so I love it. So next I have right here a Hoya gracilis, Hoya memoria gracilis. Correct me in the comments if I'm saying that wrong. You know, I don't really know how to pronounce plant names that well, but this one right here, I don't really have any specific reason why I'm bringing it with me other than I just really like it. It's one of these plants that I have not seen a lot. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, nor have I seen it a lot in stores or in person. So when I found it, I purchased it before I even knew anything about it, and I've just come to really love it. I love like the growth pattern of it. It's very floppy, which is not so common in Hoyas. Hoyas tend to have like more structure to them, I guess you could say. They have like thicker stems, but this one has very thin stems, so it's like kind of a floppy plant, which I really like about it, and I'm gonna take it with me. I hope it does well on the road. I think it will, and I really like it. Next we have this Hoya compacta variegata, and I have talked about this plant a few times in past videos, and I'll just keep talking about it again and again because it is one of my most treasured plants that I own. I purchased this plant for only $18 for a full 6-inch pot, and it's grown. You can see like the pink on it right here and right here. It is growing new leaves. It is very slow growing. It is like taking me forever. I've had it for probably over a year now, and it's taking forever, but I really do love it, and it's beautiful, and I'm never gonna let it go because I only paid $18 for it, and these plants are like upwards of $60 to $80 now. They've come down in price. That's like cheap for them, so I love it, and it's coming with me. Next, we have another more common one that I'm actually taking with me, and that's this one right here, which is a Monstera and sonia narrow form. And this is kind of in the same vein as the Monstera deliciosa, which is that it's a very common plant. I can probably find it anywhere, but it just has sentimental value to me because I actually had this plant probably 2 years ago. And what happened was I bought it as like a very full plant. It was, I think, like 8 inches wide. Like it was like a big full hanging pot, and it was very expensive, and my mom actually bought it for me as like a nice gift. And I loved it, but I killed it, pretty much all of it. Like I killed the whole plant very quickly, and it was still like pretty early on in my plant journey, so I didn't really know too much what I was doing. So I had clipped some of the cuttings. I had probably had a cutting like this big on here, and maybe like another equivalent size, and that's what this whole plant is now. So I was able to propagate it successfully, and now it's actually like an established plant. It is very unruly, and so I think I'm gonna have to do something about that when we get to Seattle, but I'm gonna worry about it then. Regardless, I just want to take it with me because it's like one of my early on successes after I had a loss, and I really like it. And I love the pot. It's in. Look at this pot. Next, I have one of my favorite plants that I own, and that is a Cebu blue. Now, I made a whole video, little dead leaf here. I made a whole video. There's a couple of dead leaves. Oh shit, I'm so embarrassed. This plant, I made a whole video on the care needs of this plant, and this plant is becoming so much more popular than it was when I originally bought it. And I bought this plant actually on a whim at Lowe's, I think Lowe's, for $11. And this was like 2 to 3 years ago. And I didn't know anything about it other than just saw it and I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. And when I got it home, I was like, wow, this is actually like a pretty valuable, rare-ish plant. And so I've been able to make a ton of money off of it just because, like I said, it was $11, and I've been able to sell so many rooted plants, so many rooted cuttings, so many unrooted cuttings. I've just sold so much from it, and I could just never let this go because I just love like the blue pattern and the blue color of it, and it's profitable for me, I guess. So I just really love it. It's a beautiful plant, and it's coming with me. It's gonna be hard, I think, to transport because it's one of the biggest plants that I'm bringing, but I don't care because I'm gonna bring it anyway. Another plant, another Monstera. Can you tell I really love Monstera that is coming with me? And this is a Monstera peru. So same deal as some of these other plants is that I have recently chopped it to make it a little smaller, even though it's still very prolific. There's still a lot of leaves on this guy and it's growing very quickly. But I did just chop, I think 3 leaves off of it to try and make it like a little smaller. And I also have a like, what do you call it? Paper clip in here to like hold it down in place so that it doesn't kind of go everywhere. If you know anything about Monsteras, they love to like climb and branch off. So I'm trying to minimize that with as many of the plants here as I can. And the reason I'm bringing it is honestly just because I paid a lot of money for it and I probably overpaid for it. I think I paid like $60 for a couple of leaves. It was a rooted plant, but it was just like a couple of leaf plant, and that is just like a little bit more than what they're going for now. So I would rather just hold on to it and get like my appreciation and value and love out of it than sell it and rebuy it, because I just kind of spent a lot of money on it. And I still love it. Like, it's beautiful and I love the textured leaves. So I just don't want to get rid of it, and I'm going to bring it with me instead. Last plant that I am bringing with me is another kind of like big guy, which I am worried about bringing these like large pots, but I don't know. I'm gonna try my best, you guys. If it doesn't happen and some of them die and I lose some of them, whatever. I'm gonna try my best. But this here is a emerald pathos. So I've made a couple of like wish list videos in the past where I've said I'm really on the hunt for like a global green pathos, which I still am. But this is an emerald pathos, which is kind of similar. It has like similar variegation patterning. Not exactly the same, but similar. And I got this. This is actually 2 plants that I potted them together from Bros with Hoes on Instagram. And I've had it for a while, and I've actually made money back on this plant because I've been able to sell rooted cuttings. It's a slower grower than some of my other pathos plants, but it does grow. Like you can see, it does have new growth. And I just want to bring it with me, honestly, because I've never seen them. Like I've never seen them available in person. I've seen them rarely available online, and it took me weeks of trying to get this plant before, because they do like a weekly restock on that site particularly, and it took me weeks of trying to get this plant. So I'm just gonna keep it. I'm not getting rid of it, and I really like it, and it's growing well, so it's coming with me to Seattle. Hopefully it is a little big, but hopefully it will survive the trip. All right, you guys, that is actually gonna be it. Those are all of the plants that I'm gonna be bringing with me with last week's video and this week's video. I definitely have like a couple small like cuttings and things that I'm waiting to see if they'll fully establish before I decide if they're coming with me or not, but for the most part, this is like the majority of the good plants that are coming with me. And so hopefully, I don't know, they'll all survive. So stick along for this journey. Subscribe if you want to see kind of like what happens with these guys. I will be making follow-up videos on how the trip goes and how the plants fare in the trip. And hopefully this channel will kind of pick back up in more exciting plant content once we arrive, because I want to buy like a lot more plants when we get there, because summer's almost over now, and normally I buy like several plants in the spring and summer season, and I haven't been able to do that right now because we're preparing for our move. So plant hauls are coming. Subscribe if you would like to see that, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.